Hello and welcome back. I bet you thought you were never going to see me again. And while I did give up just a little bit on some of the summer weather activity just because there's just a whole lot of YouTubers out there covering that, what they don't do very well is cover the winter weather like I do. And speaking of which, we do have some winter weather possibilities to talk about. So what we are seeing here Tuesday night is plenty of moisture being drawn up by this big weather system that's wrapping around the backside and creating plenty of rain across the Dakotas and northern Minnesota here Tuesday night. And actually even a fair amount of snow across the higher elevations of the Black Hills. And taking a look here at the Deadwood, South Dakota camp, we could see plenty of snow, slippery conditions going on across Deadwood. 4 inches of snow have fallen across parts of the Black Hills, the higher elevations, with 6 inches or more expected in some areas by the time this is all over. And so here at the upper levels, you could see this big old trough digging in and sending plenty of energy up into the Dakotas and Minnesota. And that's what's setting off these rain showers and even a couple of rumbles of thunder across South Dakota here Tuesday night. Now this system is going to take its time as we go into Wednesday and actually even lingering into Thursday. You can see that low pressure really begins to dig in here and set in across the tri-state area. Plenty of cold air starts to seep into our region and still plenty of energy along with this as we go into Thursday still. So some rain and perhaps even the possibility of some snow on Halloween. And so here's kind of our expectation of the precipitation as we go into the overnight hours and into the early parts of Wednesday morning. By 7 a.m., as you can see, most of the rain pretty much is going to be dissipating, drying up a little bit. We still got a fair amount of snow left across the Black Hills as we get to about 9 o'clock in the morning and then noon. Look at that, most of the rain pretty much gone. We still are left with that upslope flow of that snow and some rain in the lower elevations, but still some precipitation across western parts of South Dakota. And as we get into late Wednesday, we can see the next little round begins to show up across southeastern parts of Minnesota here, and that will continue to go on into the evening and nighttime hours. Perhaps a few rumbles of thunder expected as well across southeastern parts of Minnesota. Now there is a very, very slim chance as we go into the early parts of Wednesday night that maybe some of these could have just a tiny bit of hail associated with it, given that the cold temperatures, the freezing temperature is going to be so low, and we're going to have plenty of updrafts going on across southeastern parts of Minnesota that perhaps we have that potential of just seeing a little bit of light hail across that region. Now, here becomes the interesting part as we get into Thursday morning. We've got some cold air wrapping around the backside of this low pressure system. And will it be enough to potentially create rain turning over to snow? This is around 9 a.m. Halloween morning. So Thursday morning, we're looking at least a possibility of some snow. Now, models haven't been in real good agreement with it. It's been kind of going back and forth depending on the model. But it's funny as we get a little closer to this system, or to Thursday rather, a few more models are kind of starting to hint as well as at the possibility of seeing some snow going into Thursday. Now you notice that last model I showed, it had it a little bit further south going into Thursday. This model, the American model, the longer range model, has that potential a little bit further north, which honestly, I would probably buy just a little bit more than that southern type of track. But either way, we got to keep an eye on the potential of seeing some snow going into Thursday and perhaps persisting into Thursday afternoon. This is the Canadian model. You can see basically along the same type of path as the longer range American model, going just north of the cities and kind of impacting the Duluth area and up into the Arrowhead region. And finally, the European model showing a mix as we start off the day on Thursday, kind of turning over to snow as we get to about 9 a.m. going into Duluth and up into the Arrowhead around noon. And this is going into the afternoon hours before that system ejects out. Now, of course, things have been plenty warm going into late October. And in fact, if we take a look at the surface temperatures of some of the pucks that are kind of along some of these areas along these roads here, we can see the surface temperature still at 56 degrees. We have those road temperatures still at 56 degrees, and it looks like the rain's going to be turning over to snow more so during the daytime. And so obviously it's been warmer than average. The models may not be used to it. It's one of the first little storms that could potentially bring snow. So of course it looks like they're probably overdoing this. And so if I'm going to look at anything, I'm going to say maybe this American model has something to it, to where an inch, maybe an outside chance of 2 along the grassy areas somewhere within this region and through here, but I'm not really counting on it just yet. It's still too early. I don't know that the models really have a good handle on it. But I guess if any trick-or-treaters have the potential for seeing some snow on the ground across our region, it's probably going to be you guys in through here, unfortunately. Now, if any of that snow does manage to stick, I don't think it's going to hang around too awful long, as we do have another system that begins to pull out of the Rockies going on into the weekend. So we're going to have more moisture, more warm air being drawn northward and back into our region. So we're looking at a few days of rain, probably more so starting Saturday night, persisting into Sunday, and actually going into Monday and even Tuesday as well. We'll see how this system wraps up. I don't think it's going to quite look like this. This is the American model, and once we start to look this far out, I don't know if I quite buy the system wrapping up quite like this just yet. But I do think there is that likelihood of seeing some more rain going on into the weekend. But of course, before that, if you're kind of from that southwest Minnesota up through the Arrowhead region, perhaps just north of the Twin Cities, you got that potential for seeing some Halloween snow. And so be on the lookout for that. We'll update you as we get closer to that time frame. All right, everybody. Well, that's our first little winter outlook, our first little storm where we had to think about snow. And we'll see how many we get throughout the winter months. So be sure you subscribe down below and hit the little bell button along with it so that you're notified when I upload another video just like this. And I'll keep you up to date on the latest weather forecast when it comes to the winter weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota. All right, everybody, for Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner. Everybody, have a good day.